Good morning. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Another day in the life of all of us as we find our path to the different aspects of ourselves, insofar as understanding more of how we can assimilate our higher selves into our daily lives and how we can accommodate the inner child within us so that we can be whole and at peace. And so much of our lives are about having experiences that set us on a path of self-discovery and of evolution. Many of the people that we meet, many of the people that assist us, many of the people that get in our way are all lessons and all teachers for our journey. It's so important, as I always speak of for us to take the circumstances and the lessons that we experience and use them as an impetus for our self-growth. And if we do that, we avoid putting ourselves in a pattern of victimization or self-victimhood. And that self-victimhood enables us to just self-pity ourselves and really hold us in a pattern of isolation and of somewhat being stuck. So we have the challenges to face on a daily basis, which is so important for us. And these challenges that we experience will only help us evolve. And if we keep in mind that the earth is a school for us to evolve and to change, and that we come into this life with different lessons to learn, and each time we learn a lesson, we somewhat graduate from that particular lesson and move on to other aspects of what we need to learn. And sometimes a life is fulfilled with maybe one lesson or two lessons. And sometimes it's maybe filled with less. And sometimes people come back and almost have an easier time than other people. But nonetheless, it's important for us not to compare ourselves with others, but to just stick to our own path and somewhat stay in our lane. Today, what I wanted to discuss was the subject of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very tricky word. It's a word that creates a lot of dissociation, a lot of numbness, and a lot of isolation, of pulling ourselves away from situations that we no longer can get closure on. So many times in life, we have relationships, we have patterns that exist. We run into people in terms of who we've seen from the past. We see them again. People have experiences with people from the past, people from the present, right? And future possibilities. One of the subjects that is most difficult for us to do is to forgive. And the subject of forgiveness will always cross everyone at some time in their life. The subject of forgiveness is a matter of not holding on to anger. It's not actually about forgiving another person. It's actually coming to closure or peace within oneself at some type of experience they had with another person. And in order for a person to be truly happy, or to not hold on to that emotion of anger, and not recreate an image or a scenario inside one's mind in order to replay a situation where someone was wronged, particularly us, right? Then what we do is we don't know how to forgive. And forgiveness is an inside job. It begins with us. It begins actually with us moving forward and moving on from a situation and no longer holding on to the energies that keep us attached to it. What's important is that we want an apology in most times when we want forgiveness, right? We want to forgive somebody. We want something from them in exchange for us to then give up the commodity of not holding on to that conflict or to that experience any longer. So what's important for us is to actually just find inner peace within oneself and say, I need to move on from this situation in order for me to have peace. And in order, the word forgiveness is actually saying, I allow myself to move forward, no longer holding on to any of the chains or any of the cords that hold me to this situation or to this person. I allow myself to be free, and I allow the other person to be free. So now that's a situation where we want forgiveness from somebody else, right? We want to forgive someone in order to move forward. But there are times when other people need forgiveness from us, but we also need to give forgiveness to other people for the wrongs we might have done to someone else. And it's important for us to keep in mind that we need to also look into it, that we can actually create a space where we can forgive and be forgiven. In the Hawaiian tradition, many of you may have heard of the Ho'oponopono, which is a specific saying that allows a person to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So those 4 words are actually repeated within a person's mind in order to bring closure to a situation that you're having a hard time bringing closure to. So Ho'oponopono, which I'll post in the description, is a very important saying that allows you to cut ties and to create peace and to wish a person to move, that they can move forward and that you could move forward. As I said, I'll at least list that in the description below, so that'll give you some idea, if you haven't heard of it, of what you can do. But as it pertains to us, today what I'd like to do is I'd like to drum into the energy of forgiveness. In other words, who needs to forgive you, or who do you need to forgive? And you could ask that question once we get to that certain place in the journey. If you see a spirit animal, you ask the animal for that specific answer itself. And you'd be surprised in what you see and what you hear. And as I said earlier, it creates a little bit of a numbness or dissociation, because it's a real traumatic experience for us to want to forgive or to be forgiven. Sometimes we don't feel worthy of being forgiven for something we might have done. But nonetheless, we all need closure on a situation, and we need to move forward. All right, so let's get started today on our drumming. Okay. Hopefully the sound on this is clear. I changed a little bit of the microphone, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in and out. 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 Make sure you're not operating any machinery, or you're not driving a car, that you're in a place where you can relax, and let us start our journey. Walking on a beautiful path. In this case, the side of the path has lavender on the left. If you're not familiar with lavender, it's a purplish colored bush that is vibrant and gives off a beautiful smell with scent. And on the right are sunflowers that grow taller than ourselves right now. And as the wind blows, the sunflowers move as if they greet you with their smiley face. When you walk this path, you smell the scent of the lavender, and you see the yellow sunflowers dancing in the wind. And as you walk the path, the sun is shining brightly overhead. And you can see a hill in the distance, still covered with these beautiful bushes on the left, and on the right, the sunflowers. And as you walk up this hill, and as you come down, the landscape shifts a bit. There are more trees on the left side and on the right. And the sun is shaded from the tall trees left and right. And as you walk along, you see to the left a smaller path. And you take that path and walk it. sound of birds in the trees as they fly from one branch to the next. And a squirrel crosses your path. And you walk forward and you walk into a darker area of the forest. And up ahead is a cave, a little cavernous area. You walk into that area. And it leads outside to a different landscape. Rocky landscape in front of you with orange toned rocks. And you stop at one of the rocks and you sit down. And you look in the landscape ahead. Behind you sits an animal. What animal do you see? And you ask this animal, who do I need to forgive? Who needs to forgive me? And you listen for this answer. Think of that person, and you think of yourself and all the struggles that have evolved around that subject. And you realize the necessity and the need to release this from your energy field. No longer be stuck. Simply letting go. The animal leaves you with a few words or images or feelings. You look at the animal and you thank it, and you stand up off the rock, and the animal leaves, and you head back to your original path, leaving the orange landscaping rocks behind. You head into the cave. You exit the cave into the short path, the darker path of trees that leads to the lighter, tall trees on the left and right. And now the sun shines through again. And as you get to the original path, you make a right turn and head back. Up ahead, you see the hill. The path past above that hill are the lavender, now to your right, and the sunflowers to your left. You smell the lavender again, and the sunflowers shake with each wind that passes through. Up ahead on the right is a large rock, as tall as you. And since that living rock has energies and a history, you put your hands on the rock. And you feel the rock take away your energy that you just experienced. Any remnants of the energies from past experiences that created any negative feelings. And the rock absorbs this energy. You take your hands away from the rock and thank it. So, as we return back, take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take one more deep breath in and exhale. Move your fingers and your toes. And when you feel like it, come back into the room and open your eyes. Okay, so here what we experienced was a shamanic journey for forgiveness. And as I mentioned before, the act of forgiving is not so much a verbal conversation with someone, although it could be, and a person could make peace. But many times forgiveness starts with us letting go of something we no longer can change or shift. And the important aspect is for us to understand that in order for us to forgive, we need to move forward and to move on, and to no longer hold on to something that no longer serves us and keeps us stuck. And as I mentioned before, the prayer, the Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian prayer, which states that four specific statements. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Or thank you, I love you. In that order. And specifically, that specific prayer has a lot of significance of shifting energy with people, with chords, with aspects of what we hold on to and what responsibility we take part in some type of conflict that took place. As I said before, I'll post it at the end. I want to thank all of you for joining me today, and I hope that you're able to take this information and pass it along. Remember, if you're interested in any of the services I offer, the Akashic Record reading or any shamanic work, you can go to my website at adamgelluniversalhealing.com. And in September, I'll be starting the Patreon page where we're doing drumming sessions and healings for the various aspects of that community. All right, so hope you have a great day, and keep in mind, it's important for us to nature nurture because nature nurtures us. And remember, we're all walking each other home. So remember that we're all on a journey of helping one another to try to better find one another on our path. All right, have a great day.